A reading from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 27, verses 32 and following. As they went out, they came upon a man from Cyrene named Simon. They compelled this man to carry his cross, and when they came to a place called Golgotha, which means a place of the skull, they offered him wine to drink, mixed with gall. But when he tasted it, he would not drink it. And when they had crucified him, they divided his clothes among themselves by casting lots. Then they sat down there and kept watch over him. Over his head they put the charge against him, which read, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." Then 2 bandits were crucified with him, one on his right and one on his left. Those who passed by derided him, shaking their heads and saying, You who would destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the Son of God, come down from this cross." In the same way, the chief priests also, along with the scribes and elders, mocked him, saying, "He saved others. He cannot save himself. He's the King of Israel. Let him come down from the cross now, and we will believe in him. He trusts in God. Let God deliver him now, if he wants to, for he said, 'I'm God's son.'" The bandits who were crucified with him also taunted him in the same way. From noon on, the darkness came over the whole land until 3 p.m, and about 3 o'clock, Jesus, with a loud voice, cried, "Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani?" That is, my God, why have you forsaken me?" When some of the bystanders heard it, they said, "This man is calling for Elijah." Jesus had one heck of a week. As we recalled, these events of this week started with a grand and glorious parade, a celebration, often referred to as a triumphal entry. Jesus on the colt, cloaks draped across the ground, and people waving palms, "Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest." I mean, starting the week on a high, but yet the week would unfold. It would include a time of a heartfelt goodbye, a meal that he shared with his brothers. It would include Peter's denial of Jesus. Yeah, Jesus said, "Peter, you're going to deny me." "Oh, no, I won't." And yet he did. It was a week that was filled with, it was Jesus' betrayal and arrest. Judas, who was even welcomed at that dinner, the one who would betray Jesus, following that time together out of guilt, and after betraying Jesus, he killed himself. I mean, just in that short time this week, then Jesus finds himself on trial. Have you ever been involved in litigation? We are watching a nation right now as litigation unfolds in the trial of Derek Chauvin, the police officer accused of killing George Floyd. Our hearts beating and raised with angst as we watch and sense the pain that comes with that. I mean, think about all of the things that Jesus has gone through just in this week. The trial is, of course, as we know, how it goes. Given the opportunity to free him, Pilate says, "Who do you want?" And the crowd says, "Barabbas, Barabbas." And so Jesus is to be crucified. He goes up to be crucified. And by one account of the Gospels, the disciples were off in a distance. His friends who'd been by his side weren't even there now that he was being publicly humiliated and crucified. The text tells us that the soldiers cast lots, all while Jesus is there hanging on a cross, dying on a cross. Matthew tells us also that the 2 men that were being crucified next to him as well were taunting him. What a week. What a week. That's a whole lot of life. From the joys of a meal with friends and parades to betrayal to trial to death and humiliation, all of this happening just in this short time, to go through any one of those things, we might say, gosh, that was quite an ordeal. But Jesus goes through all of this. And while he's there, we hear these words from the cross. These words that are so, we can almost hear them. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Do I believe that Jesus feels like God has actually forgotten him? Not for a moment. But what I do see is we get a glimpse of Jesus' full and complete humanness. He has experienced all of this through the week. And it comes to this moment where he is about to die. And it's almost like he just says, God, why? All of it. All of it. Why, God? Pointing to Jesus' humanness, we see that here. It's this sense that just as Jesus has been through dark and painful times, betrayal, we can relate, can't we? I've been there. I've done that. I've felt the sting of betrayal. I have felt the hurt of mocking. I have known the joys of goodbyes and the sadness of goodbyes. I have known all those things just as Jesus has, and he has known it just as we have. Just as we have. Friends, isn't that assuring, that this sense that no matter what we face, the fullness of life, Jesus has faced it too. You know, there's a saying in the church that I heard many years ago, that it's Friday, but Sunday's coming. It's Friday, but Sunday's coming. The dark day that is this day we call Friday, where Jesus, the fullness of Jesus in his humanity, died a humiliating death on a cross, is here, but it won't last, because Sunday is coming. The hope of Sunday, the resurrection, comes. All the pain and the craziness and the chaos of this week, it goes away as the resurrection and hope comes on Sunday.